Hi everybody, welcome to the 12 Cookies of Christmas. Today we are baking a cookie submitted by Carol, which is called the Clothespin cookie. And we are doing it last because this is the only one that's not easily freezable. So I'm making it right before I serve it tomorrow. Also, welcome to Ugly Sweater Day. Teachers have a lot of these, trust me. I hope you enjoy making this cookie with me, and I will get started right now. If you choose to make it, please comment on the YouTube channel and tell us how you liked it. Thank you. Here we go. For this recipe, we'll need some phyllo dough, which you can find in the freezer department at your grocery store, heavy whipping cream, vanilla, salt, 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature, and a pound of powdered sugar. We'll also need a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and cannoli molds or round clothespins. The cannoli molds can be purchased at Sur La Table or on Amazon. Let's preheat our oven to 375 and then we'll cut our phyllo dough. Using a straight edge, we're going to cut our phyllo dough in half this way. I use a pizza cutter and I use 2 paint sticks glued together, which I also use to roll my sugar cookie dough. So I already have this in my kitchen, but you can use any straight edge, and instead of a pizza cutter, you can use a knife. Now we're going to take each half of the phyllo dough that we just cut and cut that in half, leaving us with a 1/4 sheet of the phyllo dough for each little section. Now we're going to cut these into 1-inch strips. And here again, our straight edge is going to come in handy here. Hold it down tightly. Get these cut into 1-inch strips. If you can't get exactly 1 inch, that's fine. That's just an approximate. This one will come to a little less than 1 inch, and that's okay. Aside from the butter we have at room temperature, let's melt a little bit of butter in a bowl to dip our phyllo strips into before we wrap them on our cannoli molds. Using our fingers, let's dip into the butter, helping us to wrap each one of these around and overlap until we get about 3 layers thick. I actually buttered my cannoli mold too. Now we're just going to spread a little more butter on here. Just be very scant with it so we don't start cooking these phyllo doughs. And wrap around. We're going to do 3 layers of these. Just kind of overlapping a little bit as you go. If it's not sticking real well, then it's time for you to stick your finger in a little more butter and get it wrapped on there, and it should look like this. Oh, we need a little more there. So we're gonna get these rolled 3 layers deep, and I'll see you back here when we are done rolling our cookie sheet worth. All right, guys, we are all rolled up and ready to go into the oven. 375. We're going to check these after about 10 minutes. We want the bottoms to be golden brown. They're out of the oven now and looking good. I checked the bottoms of them and they're golden brown, little golden brown around the edges. So now we're going to let them sit on the baking tray for 2 minutes before we transfer them to the wire rack. After 2 minutes, with a firm but gentle grip, let's remove them from the cannoli molds and place them on our wire cookie cooling rack. While they're cooling, let's make our mixing bowl. Let's put our butter and whip it on a high speed for about 7 minutes. Ooh, that's really soft. And I'll see you when we come back. Let's add a pinch of salt. And add our powdered sugar. One pound. We're going to mix this on slow speed at first so that the sugar doesn't go everywhere. Then we'll put it up to medium speed. And mix this for about 2 minutes before we add our vanilla and cream. So start that on slow or low, and then we'll move it up to medium. Let's add our 2 teaspoons of vanilla. One is already in there. And our 2.5 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And we'll start mixing this on low again. And then we'll move it up to medium. And I'll see you back here. It's all been combined, so now I'm mixing it on medium to high for about 3 or 4 more minutes until light and fluffy. If I need to add a little more whipping cream, I will. I want this consistency pretty light and fluffy because our shells are very delicate. So we don't want it too heavy, we don't want it to break our shells. Don't forget to scrape your blade and the sides of your bowl regularly to make sure it's all getting nice and whipped together. This is going to be a good consistency for us. Remember, we don't want it to be as thick as though we were icing a cake, because we have to be very gentle with our phyllo dough shells. So the next thing we're going to need is a piping bag. If you don't have a piping bag, you can use a baggie. Okay, to fill these, I'm just using a piping bag with a tip. If you don't have a piping bag with a tip, you don't have to use one. You can just use a baggie and cut a hole maybe in the corner of the baggie. But if you have a piping bag, which you can get at the grocery store or at Target, that's really the easiest way that we're going to have to fill these, and the prettiest. So let's get started with this one. We're going to put it about halfway in there. And just squeeze that filling in and kind of pull it out at the very end so that it looks pretty, like that. And then we're going to place it on a plate because we're going to need to refrigerate these overnight, okay? Or just until we are ready to eat them, which in my case is tomorrow. And I think our last step is going to be putting some powdered sugar on top just to make them look nice and festive. And I'll be back. I realized I don't have any powdered sugar left, so I can't dress them up anymore, but really looking at them, they don't need it. They're so beautiful as is. If you wanted to, though, you could sprinkle some powdered sugar on top just to make them even prettier. But thank you so much for joining us for this recipe. I hope that you try it, and I hope that you love it. And if you do, please let us know how it went by commenting on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. This concludes our 12 Cookies of Christmas. For those of you who have followed us the whole way, I thank you so much. And for those of you who have tried any of our recipes, thank you. I hope you love them, and I wish you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.